What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We got the same crew as yesterday, breaking down this 9-game slate with plenty of offense, plenty of big totals, some good pitching. It's a really, really good slate like yesterday. So I'm excited to dive in, talk about it. Hoop, Mango, myself. We're running a little late because, as probably most of you know, the premium side, the golf, Hoop, Uncle T, Big T, Tambo. We're talking some golf, talking some U.S. Open. 3 milli makers. So I tuned in a little late to the show. I like doing it at night. I'll be watching it while I'm watching the Stanley Cup tonight and picking some winners. And hopefully someone from Rumpier gets that milli. Speaking of the Stanley Cup, I know none of these two are going to give any Stanley Cup love, but I get a little excited for a little playoff hockey. Whoever is a fan of hockey in here and follows it, give me your winner. Is it going to be the Lightning? Is it going to be the Avs? Who is winning this series? Excited to watch some good hockey. We got NBA, of course, tomorrow with big prize pools. So, hey, a lot of sports, the good competition, should be fun. Man, I'll throw it over to you. How was your night yesterday? Early baseball. I wasn't in the streets, but I know it was a pretty decent slate. Were you in the streets? How's it going over there?
Yeah, I played it. It didn't go as well as I hoped, but the White Sox did go off. I had a 3-man, not a 5-man, so that was unfortunate. And it's very hurtful that you don't want my hockey takes. I'm in the Colorado area. The Avalanche are in it. And I actually just realized I'm going to hit a golf simulator tonight, and it's in Denver. And I assume the Avalanche are playing tonight in Denver. I would just assume. So I just realized I might run into some traffic at some point. So I got to figure that out too. So at least you reminded me of that. But go Avalanche, right? I got to root for the hometown team. I don't have any affiliation to Tampa, but hey, NHL is fun to watch. I like watching the playoffs. I'm not grinding it out throughout the whole season, but I'll definitely make sure to watch a little bit of the game tonight. I won't be as plugged in as you, but typically what I do with playoff hockey is if I see a game's close in the third, I definitely try to put the game on because, that's always fun to watch.
Yeah, I did remind you. Yeah. Before the show, I wasn't even thinking about it. You said you were going to go out tonight a little bit. You're definitely going to run into some traffic. Games at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. We got a couple people in chat. Bob talking about the Avs, OMG Godfather, Avs, a 3P, Tony saying Tampa, Beat Boys, Tampa. I know we got some hockey fans in here, so it's good to see some new faces typing in chat. I love playoff hockey, but man, when it gets to the Stanley Cup, I watch it pretty much first period to the third period. Hoop, you definitely do not watch hockey from the first period to the third period. So I'll just say, how was early baseball? Initial thoughts on this slate? Man, it's a good one, I think, for sure. So talk about it a little bit. Then talk about that golf show you guys just did.
Yeah, definitely no hockey. Haven't watched a hockey game, and oh man, I can't even tell you. Can't stand hockey. So no
That's
hockey.
That's what Steve Anthony said. The next time I watch hockey will be the first time I watch hockey.
Yes, I'm with Steve. I stand united with Steve Anthony. Early baseball slate going pretty well. Had a White Sox, Astros stack. Just need these pitchers in the Reds and D-back game to keep it going. I think we have a potential chance at another shipper, so we'll see on that front. And then this slate is insane with the offenses. I mean, again, we have Coors Field where both sides are in play. We have Wrigley wind again, but now this time the wind is like 25 miles an hour and it's 92 degrees. The total is 12, sitting at 12, and that's come up. I wouldn't be surprised if it closes a little higher. You have the Braves again in a very similar spot. They went off last night. You have the Blue Jays again in a very similar spot, and you have the Red Sox again in a very similar spot. So pretty similar situation to what we had yesterday, but I think even better than yesterday. You have the Dodgers in a good spot too. So there's a ton of offenses. I have a few solid pitchers, but we'll get into and break it all down for sure. Yeah, we're a little late because of the U.S. Open show. We did the premium show, which is live. Should be live on the site now. Me, Tambo, Big T, and Uncle T. Last night did the show with Snyder and AP, and then all the premium content is starting to drop on the site. I have a really good feeling about this week. I think we're going to see a lot of RPS logos at the top of the leaderboard, but that's nothing new at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a good slate. You mentioned, you didn't even mention the Cardinals, who have an implied total of 5, which they're going to be completely forgotten. But man, it was only a month ago, it seems, where we couldn't even find an implied total above 5. And now balls are flying. Wrigley Way game for sure. I think we'll pick up the most steam. Coors won't be the most chalky, which is crazy, but we'll dive into it. We'll talk about it. What do we got in here? Old Blue, Gordon Bombay, NHL Coach of the Year. Haven't heard that name in a long time. Old Blue, that's a good one. We got Robert Bourne. He's saying the Bolts win it. Should be a good series for sure. I'm excited. And yeah, I think I am cheering for the Avs. I mean, three-peat in any sport. You like seeing a new team get it done once in a while. So I will be cheering for the Avs myself. But that's enough hockey. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit that subscribe button. 300 is the number, as it always is now. I know you guys and gals are going to get it done for us. But let's get right into pitching. Let's go 10-4 Shane McClanahan to, I'll say 8-1 Jack Flaherty, 8K and up. Jack Flaherty's only limited to 60 pitches about today, so I assume no interest there. It's the easiest cross off for me on the slate. But man, McClanahan, Corbin Burns, Nestor Cortez, you got Jose Berrios up there. You got some studs for sure, Hoop. So break it down for me, 8K and up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid trio at the top. McClanahan, Burns, Cortez, and they're separated by a couple $100 each. I'm fine with all three of those guys, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think there's going to be many lineups where I played 2 out of 3 of them. But on a lot of lineups, I wouldn't mind getting one. I think McClanahan's probably my favorite. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. The matchup not ideal against the Yankees, but Burns is going against the Mets. They have the potential scores, put up some runs too, but McClanahan, I think is my favorite up here. And then probably Burns and Cortez. So it's right in order of pricing. I'm not going to be picky which one I play. Like if I can get up to McClanahan, great. If I can't get there and I can play Burns, great. If I can't get up to Burns and I have to play Cortez, I'm fine with that too. So for me, like those three, I think are very solid options. And then the next guy I would consider would be Berrios at 8-9. Back-to-back very strong starts against the Twins, 38 fantasy points, and then against the Tigers, 26 fantasy points. At home here is a massive favorite against the Orioles. I'm cool with him. And then that's it for me up here. Not going to mess with Flaherty and the pitch count. So I think there's 4 viable options up top.
Yeah, I agree with you with McClanahan. I have him number 1 in tournaments. I think he is the highest priced one. So I think he might be a little lower owned than Corbin Burns, than Nestor Cortez, but he gets the best strikeout matchup. The Mets, they don't strike out much for Burns. Tampa Bay, they don't strike out too much. The Yankees have strikeouts in their lineup. Obviously, they do have a lot of power as well, but man, McClanahan has just been so good. You also look at it, he has a pitcher umpire behind the dish, whereas for Corbin Burns, I'm seeing extreme hitters umpire. So if you, I look at umps have been so bad. They tilt me every time I watch baseball. If I see one has an extreme hitter, one has a pitcher, I'll lean with the pitcher one. You also look at the K props. McClanahan is leading the slate. It's 6.5, but it's about -135, where Corbin Burns 6.5, -115. So yeah, McClanahan is my number 1 in tournaments right now as well. You do get that discount from Berrios, though, 8.9K, man, going, which you're paying 10-4, 10-2, or 9-9 for the other guys. So talk about this top tier from Flaherty, which assume you'll have no interest, all the way up to McClanahan.
Yeah, so at the top, like those 3, like let's at least first start there. McClanahan, Burns, and Cortez. If I had to rank them, my current ranking right now is Cortez number 1, Burns 2, McClanahan 3. Cortez has been amazing all year. Burns been pretty good too. The thing about Burns, though, that I kind of lean with what you said. Like when one is an extreme hitter's ump and the other one is a pitcher's ump, I think I'm just going to lean the other guy if I think it's that close. I do think it is close. So my lean right now is Cortez. Then I'm going to go Burns 2 and then McClanahan 3, mainly because of the price. On DK, it's a little different. FanDuel, it's like a big gap. Should mention, I think he's like 11-4. You can make the argument if you have the $200. McClanahan's maybe better. Maybe you do like the full game stack of the double pitchers, right? You hope the game kind of goes low, which certainly could happen. So Burns and McClanahan's definitely close for me. It's one that I'm thinking a little bit about, but I'm trying to figure out if I play Cortez as my SP1, am I playing a second pitcher at the top or am I going down lower? That's the real debate where we have to go with. And Berrios is the next guy that grades out. And I'm not dying to play Berrios. Like if you tell me there's a chalky Berrios on a slate, like I'm typically just not as interested in him, especially if there's other options that I think are good. Is Berrios head and shoulders above all these other guys? I'm just not totally buying it. I think I'd rather play Spencer Strider for cheaper, who has a ton of upside. Yeah, he's in a tough spot pitching wise as well, but Berrios, he's last 2 games. If you look at him, he went up against Minnesota. He went up against Detroit. And this was Minnesota on like June 4th. So maybe Minnesota hadn't gotten as hot before during that game. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at everything. But we know the Tigers, they're just downright bad too. And I don't know, Baltimore is definitely a team that can get the job done. Has some pretty good hitters. And they've definitely heated up since the start of the year. So I think there's a lot of opportunity cost to going Berrios, and you can leverage him pretty well. So I'm not dying to play Berrios. It's just, I get it. If you want to go to him, that's perfectly fine. That's one thing I'm debating on FanDuel. Like if you look at the FanDuel pricing, like I'm pulling out the cash chart and I see that you got some decent price tags on Burns at 10.9, Cortez at 10.5, and then you have Berrios who has similar projections as those other two. It's not on the same level, but it's close. And he's at 8.8 or 8.9 in that range. And that's just kind of tough for me to swallow. I think I'd prefer going Cortez. He feels like my SP1 on FanDuel and on DK. And then from there, I think I want to prioritize whichever offense that I want most, because what happens sometimes is if you plug in Cortez, you plug in McClanahan with the Burns and you lock those guys in. And let's say you run the Blue Jays lineup because you think the Blue Jays is the best stack on the slate. Well, this is what your team is going to look like. You're not going to have all of the studs. What you're going to have is you're going to have probably three of like Espinal, Chapman, Gurriel, and Tapia. And I think that's just a wrong approach. Now, if you can jam in both of those two studs and get like 3 or 4 of those like 1 through 5 on the Blue Jays, then I'm interested. And it also has to fit really well with your 3-man stack. So I really think I'm locking in Cortez as my favorite pitcher. And then from there, I'm letting my number one offense dictate what I do from there. That's kind of my overall strategy so far with this slate that I'm looking at. Of course, I want to use the optimizer over here at SaberSim with our partner, run everything, see what it looks like. I think that's a super important thing to do in MLB, and I'm definitely going to be doing that on this slate. So no strong leans on the guys at the top, but I think it's Cortez 1. And then from there, it's Burns and McClanahan are really close. Depends on what's going on there. And then Berrios is one I'm trying to fade. And I'm looking for a cheaper pitcher.
This fire alarm's going off, so y'all two gotta take over.
All right. Well, title's fire alarm is going off. So it's me and Hoop now to run everything. I talked for a while there, Hoop. What's some of your thoughts and what's some of your thoughts on Titletown with the fire alarm going off?
Yeah, I was like, what the, I thought my AirPods were cutting out again. And if you watch the show, you know, I've had a ton of issues and that would have been the final straw. These things would have been smashed live on air, but no, it's Title's fire alarm going off. So hopefully he's safe. Yeah, I mean, I could be sold on those guys up top, like any combination, like of Cortez, Burns, Callahan. I mean, I think you're really splitting McClanahan. I think you're really splitting hairs. Coming down a little bit cheaper, Spencer Strider, I think is a phenomenal play. I mean, I watched a lot of his game last time out against Pittsburgh. I mean, he has just legitimate like shutdown stuff, and it's nice to see him finally crack into that fifth inning. I mean, it really hadn't. I think all season long, the furthest he had gone is 4 1/3. He finally went 5 2/3. So that shows they're willing to let him go a little bit. And he pitched 92 pitches. Good matchup here again today against Washington. So tons of interest in him. I mean, the guy just throws 100 and it looks so simple. I mean, he's just firing these things out there. And then the last guy that I'm considering on this slate is the dude for Boston. No idea how to pronounce his name. Winkowski or something. I have no idea, but 5K flat. And he gets this great matchup against Oakland. So I'm going to be interested in him. So really the only two down here that I'm playing are Strider and this Boston dude for 5K.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with the Boston dude for 5K. I'll admit that a lot of the teams that I've ran, especially when like you want to jam in those Blue Jays, like I said, which is something I'm definitely considering on this slate, is like it got me a lot of him when I ran stuff. It was like, okay, he's in there a lot. I don't really know what to really do with him. So that's something I'm definitely thinking about for sure. I like Strider. I think that's a good call there. Obviously against Washington, they're a team that they have holes in their lineup for sure. And you can strike them out a ton. So I do think Strider is definitely in play. Trying to see if there's like anyone else here that could be interesting. Like, I guess you could make a case for this Ronzi Cortez guy. He throws heat and he gets a lot of strikeouts. Like he's definitely someone that I think you could put on your teams, but the problem is I just don't know if like, it feels like it would be more of a leverage play, but it doesn't feel like the right spot works. I don't think the Cardinals are just going to be like egregiously owned, right? Like if you're going to really do that, you can make an argument for it, but I don't know. I'm trying to like make ideas up down here, but maybe just the two best ideas are going to Winkowski and Strider and then moving on. Like, I know you like to make a tight player pool sometimes too, but it sounds like your player pool today might be McClanahan, Burns, Cortez, Berrios possibly, and then Strider and Winkowski. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's looking like, I mean, the next guy that I would bring in would be this Ronzi Contreras guy. I mean, he has high strikeout stuff. He struck out 7 guys against Atlanta. Very solid lineup there, obviously. But man, this Cardinals lineup, I mean, they've been hitting the ball, so it scares me a little bit. Their team total sitting right at 5. So, I mean, he would be the next guy. I just don't know if you necessarily need him on this slate. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't see myself getting there all that much.
All right. If you are going cheap, do you think it's Strider or Winkowski? Like, I guess that's a big debate.
Yeah.
Like, because I do think that's going to matter. Is it depend on your offense first? Like for me, it sounds like you might want to prioritize that offenses today because there's a lot of good offenses, right? I mean, you don't want to have like you don't want a good offense and like a really bad stack. You want to make sure you get in those big bats because listen, there's so many good offenses today, right? You got to hit on your guys. So you want to make sure you get in the big bats for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you don't go below Strider. I mean, this Winkowski guy obviously is risky at 5K, but man, you start building these teams, you start looking at these offenses, like you don't want to sacrifice offense, I don't think, on this slate. There's going to be some big time offensive scores. If I'm going to make sacrifices, it's probably going to be at pitcher today because the other thing to consider, it's hot basically everywhere. 90 degrees in Wrigley, 85 in Washington. I guess Boston's a little chillier at 70. 94 in St. Louis, 92 in Chicago, 85 in Colorado. So, I mean, there's going to be some big boy runs today. So, I mean, I think for me personally, prioritizing offense over pitching today for sure.
Yeah. And another reason why, like, if you think today's slate is similar to yesterday's, which I believe it is, I saw that I think the winning team in the big $15 GPP, that was a 3-3. I think it's a 3-3-2 or whatever. And it was Atlanta. It was the Jays and it was St. Louis. That it wasn't a 5-3. Yeah. And the point I'm getting at is like when Paul Goldschmidt goes for 44, you kind of need him on your team, right? When these big bats just absolutely have monster games, that's just going to sometimes mess things up. So prioritizing the offense today, I think is a big deal. Like you saw yesterday, Padres and Cubs, they had 17 runs altogether. Yes, they were good. I'm sure you ended up profiting from some of your teams, but your Luke Voigt home run, it didn't matter because of what Goldschmidt did, right? Because again, some of those big bats, sometimes you just need to get them in your lineups when they have massive games. So I'm not saying, hey, you got to just like guess what all the home runs are, but just saying right now, there's a lot of big boy scores going up, as Titletown likes to say. Loves a good big boy score in MMA. There's big boy scores with Paul Goldschmidt dropping 44. So you want to make sure that you got Paul Goldschmidt in your Cardinal stack, right? You want to make sure that you prioritize those big bats. It's very, very important here. Anything else with pitching? Want to give your final breakdown of like your top 3 hoop, and then we'll move on to the games.
Yeah, I mean, I like those guys up top. I mean, ideally, I want at least one of Cortez, Burns, McClanahan, if possible. If not, I feel a little bit better about Berrios, I think, than you do. Strider, and then going all the way down and punting with the Boston guy at 5K. It's kind of where I'm at. It's again, don't get too cute at pitcher type slate for me.
All right. If you guys could please hit the like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton over here at Run Pure Sports. We appreciate it. We have so much content for you guys today. Listen, if you're playing golf this week, right, you need to sign up. We have so much stuff over here. I did a nice free show talking about the Saber Sim tool. So if you're interested in the optimizer, that's a great way to check out if you want to buy it, right? Watch what me and Jordan did today. We talked about it a lot. We went through different golfers that we like based on some of the stats we looked at. He showed a lot of tips and tricks that I didn't even know about Saber that were very helpful. So be sure to check that show out. Check out the show that Hoop just did on the premium side with Big T, Tambo, Uncle T. Check out the core plays, the tiers. All those are trickling in. We got the playbook up, so you do not want to miss out on all this golf content. And of course, the MLB content as well. So be sure to check that out. Let's move on and talk about the games though, because hey, it's a big slate for games. A lot of offenses to talk about, kind of like yesterday. And what do we got here for the first one? We got the Braves and the Nationals. We got Fetty versus Strider. And Strider is not really a guy I think that we're going to target. But Fetty, someone that I think I'm interested in targeting because he is not a good pitcher. Decent temperature there in Washington. We know it plays better when the park is when they're in Washington and it's hot. The ballpark plays a little bit better for offense. And on top of that, the Braves, they're definitely a pretty good team today. 9.5 total altogether. And Strider isn't the reason why that total's up. It's because Fetty's out there. And then you got Acuna, Swanson, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Contreras, Duvall, Arcia, and Harris. But a lot of them are outfield eligible, like we talked about yesterday, 5 of them. So, Hoop, what is your thoughts here on this Braves team? Maybe that's why that Braves 3-3-2 or 3-3-3, whatever it is, worked out yesterday because of the outfield, right? That could be the reason why. So what are you doing here with these Braves? Because they're definitely an interesting team to stack, and they're also difficult to stack.
So, I mean, yeah, the same thing that we kind of talked about yesterday, like especially on DraftKings where you can play 5 guys, like a majority of Braves stacks are going to have like Swanson and Riley and Contreras, just because you can only play 3 outfielders and they have 5 in this lineup. Now, the nice thing is their outfielders are at all different price points. You got Acuna at 6.1K. You have Ozuna at 4.1K. Then you got Duvall at 3.5K, Arcia full punt at 2K, and Harris, a punt at 2.9K. So all these guys, this entire lineup is in play, which is nice. But, it's hard to, mix and match this lineup with other teams because a lot of them are outfielders. So they're in a phenomenal spot. They continue to crush. A great team to target here tonight. So tons of interest in them, and, definitely no interest for me in the Nationals whatsoever.
Yeah, no interest in the Nationals for me either. And we got Title Town back. So Title, how are you doing? The fire alarm off, and I can pass the hosting duties off to you. If you want to go back to pitcher and talk about your thoughts there, we kind of broke that down, and we just broke down the Atlanta Braves and the Nationals game.
Cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully it's good right now. Everything in my place is good. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the building, but no, my pitcher takes, you guys, the top 3, McClanahan, Burns, Cortez, obviously the ones. Barrios at 8-9, get the price discount, you get Baltimore. I have interest there. And then Strider 7-7, dude throws gas. That Boston dude down there at 5K, I have a little interest in too, Witkowski, just because, you see all these good bats on this slate. A lot of the stacks are pretty expensive that you want to pay for. I think it's another slate where bats pretty much win the slate like we saw yesterday. So I think Witkowski makes some sense there. So that's 6 guys. I like McClanahan the most in tournaments up top. Then Barrios, Strider, Winkowski, you guys were probably on the same page there. So we'll keep it there, man. Going, did you break down Atlanta? I just saw Hoop breaking it down. Did you touch on the bets?
Yeah, he touched on it a little more than me. I think Atlanta's definitely in play. Obviously the outfielders, we talked about a little bit, how like there's 5 of them. It makes it a little difficult. I think kind of like yesterday, they're not my priority stack right now, but I will say this is one thing with Atlanta yesterday. I noticed when I was building out my teams, and I talk about this a lot because I think it's really important. I might say Boston is my favorite stack, which they were yesterday. I played the 5-man, but I noticed when I ran with a lot of the 3-mans that of the stacks I liked, not a ton of them matched the way I wanted to. I noticed a lot of my Padres stack, they were playing a lot of the bottom of the order guys. And yes, I know they got there, but it wasn't something that I was dying to play. I wanted to have a Machado in there, right? I wanted to at least have some of those bats towards the top. And then what happened was I noticed the Braves 3-man kind of fit better with my Red Sox stack. So sometimes I ended up playing a little bit of Braves because of it. And sometimes if your main stack is fits with other teams, it's good to do. And sometimes it doesn't fit with another team and you're forcing too much. So that's important to obviously look at. So I always prioritize my 5-man stack, and I'm a little more lenient on my 3-man stacks based on how my teams are built out.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way as well. The Braves just keep on hitting. You can play 1 through 9. We always talk about it. The bottom of the order just keeps coming through. You look at it. Yeah. So what? Washington used 3 bullpen guys yesterday, 2 innings, 1 inning. So they don't have a great bullpen anyway. Braves just keep hitting. And you look at it the San Diego, Chicago game, definitely going to be the highest zone with all the wind, rightfully so. There always is still Coors on the slate. So, man, if you like Atlanta, I know we've talked about it kind of recently where it's a big slate again. There's not just one spot, and this one spot, I guess, would be the Chicago win game. But outside of that, you're going to get Atlanta at a pretty good ownership, and they just keep hitting. So I definitely like Atlanta, and you can play them 1 through 9 as well. Let's get into the next game on the slate. I think this is going to be a pretty quick one. 2 pitchers we like: Shane McClanahan, Nestor Cortez, Tampa Bay Rays, and New York Yankees. Total of 7. Hoop, just say move on.
Very easy fade. I don't think you can really make the argument for any bat in either lineup. So no interest whatsoever.
Man, going.
Yeah, if the 7 total beats me, it beats me. I'm out on this game.
I like it. Next game on the slate: the Baltimore Orioles, the Toronto Blue Jays. Bruce Zimmerman and Jose Barrios on the mound. Toronto has one of the highest totals on the slate against good old Bruce Zimmerman. And then, Barrios on the other side, he's going to be pretty chalky, man. Going, you don't have too much interest as a pitcher for him on this slate for pitching. So little contrarian Orioles stack, 3-man something. Talk about it.
Yeah, if I play the Orioles, it's definitely a 3-man. One thing I might do is I think I'm prioritizing the Blue Jays stack today. If I do that, I'm definitely going to include the Orioles mini stack. I'm going to see if it fits and works with what I want to do. I think it's going to be important. And one thing, especially with the Blue Jays, like, because I talk about it and maybe it's because I'm focusing on it a bunch today, but like that bottom of the order is so bad. I want to get at least 3 of those guys. Like I'm trying to probably get Springer, Bichette, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in there. And then when I put those guys on my teams, well, that could definitely like constrict like what I'm trying to do with some of my other lineups, right? And some of my other mini stacks where some mini stacks just might not fit or work and just it might not be possible. So that's going to be important to me. I want to prioritize those guys in my Blue Jays stacks. And if the Orioles fit, I'm definitely down to look at them. So definitely going to be considering these guys on this slate, like the mini stack a little bit. You can always consider like, Mountcastle. He's a guy that always crushes the ball. Mullins, I know you like him a ton. Definitely looking more at those top of the order guys, maybe like a Rougned Odor to give me some salary relief. He's always a good option. But on the Blue Jays, like I said, Springer, Bichette, and Guerrero Jr., I'm really trying to prioritize them. I typically don't mind punting the catcher position. So I'll kind of look and see what teams do with and without Kirk in my Blue Jay stack. I think that's really important because those teams can look a lot different. Like yesterday when I was running teams, I noticed if you played Blue Jays, Kirk was 5.1K and then Alfaro was like 2.7. So like if you took Kirk out, it could give you a huge upgrade in the outfield to someone else. So that was very important. Teoscar Hernandez at 4.8. I don't mind him, but he's someone I'm willing to not like load up on just because he has not been as great. And on top of that, like, I don't know, he's 4.8K. That could be salary that could be useful in other spots. Don't mind Espinal. He's someone that I think if I have to pick between the 6, 7, 8, and 9, that's probably the guy I'm going to. And then probably the next in line is probably Matt Chapman, followed by Gurriel, and then last is Tapia. I'm not getting Tapia into my lineups. Definitely going to be a guy that I'm not trying to load up on. If he happens to fall in there, fine. But like, I'm definitely looking to have less of him. Like if you run like 150 teams, and you have a lot of Blue Jays, I don't want Tapia to be like my highest owned Blue Jay. I want to be one of the lower owned ones for sure. So definitely loading up on those top 3 guys. And this is my favorite stack of the night.
I like it. Yeah. And we got Adam in chat said Chap hit a bomb or hit a shot yesterday. That he did. Kirk wasn't in the lineup. He did pinch hit, but this lineup gets so much better when he is in there. He's in the 4 hole. If I'm playing the Blue Jays, I'm paying up a catcher for him. You look at it, whoever the Padres catcher is, we don't have that lineup out yet. Wilson Contreras should be the Cubs. You got to expect those 2 to have the most ownership for sure. So you go up, you spend 700 more, you get Kirk, should be low owned. The dude just absolutely mashes. And then one last point, Teoscar Hernandez, 4.8K on DraftKings, but FanDuel stays keeping them really cheap, only 2.5K. So there's a big price difference for you there. Hoop, I'll go to you. I feel like you're a Tapia guy. Who Mangone is not playing him. I know there was another slate where someone was chirping him a bit. He came through for you. So any Tapia for you? And then what about the rest of the order?
Tapia usually gets the job done for Hoopster, but not tonight. I like him much better against right-handed pitching, not necessarily left-handed pitching. And the other night he was like batting 6th randomly. And he did get the job done. That was the night like they strung together, I think, like, I don't know, like 9 or hits in a row or something. So everyone kind of got there. Zimmerman, after a decent start to the season, I mean, this is pretty impressive, has gotten crushed. -4 fantasy points, -1.25, -5.5. So he's averaging like -3 fantasy points per start in his last 3 games. And this is probably one of the toughest matchups that he's faced over that. I mean, it is. It has to be. I mean, this lineup's built to crush left-handed pitching. All the guys at the top clearly in play. I have more interest, I think, in the bottom part than Mangone does. Like Espinal, Chapman finally got something going last night. And Gurriel, he did only have 1 hit last night, but he had been crushing before that. I mean, hits in, it looks like almost like 10 straight games. So, he's cheap at 3.5 on FanDuel. I mean, all these guys are, from Kirk all the way down to Gurriel under 3K. So, I mean, you can get a nice little Toronto stack and not sacrifice much in terms of salary. I mean, it's a really, really good spot here for Toronto. I think they absolutely smash. But we have like 7 other teams that are in really good spots too. So it's nice from an ownership standpoint. You don't have to worry about it because it's going to be spread out quite a bit today.
Yep, absolutely. If you like the Blue Jays, you like the Braves, play them. And a lot of slates we've had in the past where there's been one team with implied total that stands out amongst the rest. Today, like we said, there's a lot of them. So yeah, I think this Toronto stack makes a ton of sense. Before we do get into the next game, please do us a favor, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We always appreciate it. Then I want to shout out a couple members quick in the Members Never Win segment. Just Your Daddy, 5,000 in MLB. Landa, 5,000 in MLB. D Jones MB, 7,500 in MLB. Hoopster, 100,000 in MLB. Dunkel, 100,000 in NASCAR. And then Big T, the $167,000 MLB night. congrats to all of you. MLB's been on a roll lately. Make sure you check out the Up to Lock show, the premium show. DC's always on it, joined by a couple guys. You do have to be a member for that, though. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. So check that out. And then make sure to check out the Underdog best ball show that Simon Snyder, and they had a special guest, Josh Larkey, was on it as well. We have a promo code with them. If you have not deposited with Run Peer yet, use the promo code RunPeer at Underdog, and they'll match you up to a $100 deposit bonus. Football season will be here before we know it, and I like getting in those Underdog drafts. Very fun. $10 million in prize pools over there in the big $25 one. They have a $5 one as well. So promo code is RunPeer, gets you a $100 matching deposit. Let's get into the next game on the slate. Oakland Athletics and the Boston Red Sox. James Caprillion and Josh Winkowski on the mound. Got a pretty good total at 9.5. It looks like it's going to be about 70 degrees in Boston. Hoop, I'll go to you. Boston, another team, good lineup. Think they're going to be, no one's going to be low owned, but of all the teams, I think the win game in Chicago is going to take the most ownership. So do you have any interest in Boston? How do they compare to Toronto, to Atlanta? And I assume no Oakland, but if you do, let me know.
Yeah, no Oakland. I mean, you need upside on the slate. I mean, you need teams that you think can go out there and score 12 runs. And Oakland just they don't have that upside. If you think Oakland go get you 12 runs, then absolutely do it. I don't, so I'm off them tonight. Boston, I do think out of all the main teams tonight comes in the lowest owned. I mean, I'm going to do, I think, about 20 teams tonight. I will have a little bit of Boston for that reason. But it's going to be their core guys. It's not a lineup that I'm going to the bottom. I'm playing dudes like Jackie Bradley. I'm focusing on their core batters here at the top of the lineup. And you can do that tonight because they're going to be, like I said, probably the lowest owned of all the stacks. So I don't need to worry about getting cute here. I can just play the main guys and move on. And that's what I plan on doing. Like I said, doing about 20 teams. I'll have a few with Boston for sure tonight.
Yeah, I like it. And if you look at that lineup, it is out. They got Jarren Duran in the 1 hole, only 3K in the outfield. So you get there, you get Devers in the 2 hole. I'm always playing Devers if I'm playing the Red Sox. You get third base. Xander Mangone's played the day yesterday, shortstop, hitting cleanup. JD Martinez went deep. So yeah, I mean, the top of the order you definitely can go to, and not just using all the outfield positions. You mix in a shortstop, third base, stuff like that. Mangone, you were all over Boston yesterday. You're going to be all over them today, and then any A's for you?
Yeah, I don't mind them against Caprillion. I'm a little torn because it does seem like Caprillion's biggest issues are more against the lefties, and they're a very righty heavy lineup. But either way, I mean, it's a good lineup up and down, right? That 1 through 6 is so strong. Duran definitely helps make things work too. Kind of like Ref Schneider yesterday. Talked about liking Ref Schneider a lot and just kind of jamming him in there just because of the value that he provides and helps get in all those big bats, right? Helps get in Devers. You're going to want Devers. Obviously against Caprillion. You're going to want at least one of JD or Bogarts more than likely. Mixing in a Verdugo seems like a good idea. If you want to go cheaper, like a Franchi Cordero, who actually has power, right? I'd play him over a Jackie Bradley Jr. within my stack. I wouldn't hate Jackie Bradley Jr., but I think that Cordero is a better option over him if you can. But overall, that 1 through 6 is really strong. I'm definitely considering Boston today, but it just depends on how they fit. They're going to be a 5-man that I look at. Like I said, when I get off here, I'll run some more teams and kind of see how they fit. So it's really the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are my 2 favorite stacks right now for sure. And we'll have to see as we kind of keep going because we obviously have a Cubs win game. We got Coors. So currently leaning on going to these earlier offenses rather than the late ones right now.
Yeah, I like that approach for sure. A lot of good spots. Next game on the slate, the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Mets. Corbin Burns and David Peterson on the mound. Got a total of 7.5. It's a pretty easy stay away from me, Mangone. What are you seeing?
Yeah, this is a great stay away. I mean, I think you can even play Peterson today. I'm not dying to play Peterson, though. Just feels like play Corbin Burns and move on from this game. I really don't think I want to play anyone else from here.
Yeah, I mean, we've been I'm not going to be on David Peterson today because there are a lot of good matchups. But, I mean, we said it yesterday. I thought Bassett was one of the best plays on the slate. And the Brewers just aren't hitting right now. They're absolutely awful. So if you want to go to David Peterson, yeah, I mean, I guess I won't fault you against the Brewers. But personally, I'm not going there today. Hoop, I assume you don't like this game for bets.
Yeah, no interest here whatsoever.
Next game on the slate, Pittsburgh Pirates, the St. Louis Cardinals, Ronzi Contreras and Jack Flaherty on the mound. It's still really, really warm in St. Louis. It's going to be about 95, it looks like. Cardinals total is about 5. They definitely went off yesterday. Paul Goldschmidt is back at double dong. Hoop, I'll go to you. You look at that lineup. You got Brendan Donovan in the 2-hole 3K, second and outfield eligible. Nolan Gorman 4K, Tyler O'Neill 3.5, your boy Dylan Carlson 3K. I mean, outside of what? Edman, Goldie, Arenado. This lineup is cheap and you can stack them a lot of ways. So do you have interest in the cards today? I think they're going to be low owned for their implied total.
Yeah, moderate interest. I mean, I think this Roansy Contreras guy will get some ownership, which will naturally bring down the cards. Making 20, I don't know how much cards I can get because I want that win game. I want Coors. I want Toronto. When I get to building, we'll see. I mean, if I have enough room for like maybe a mini stack here, give me Goldschmidt, who is just on fire. You get a cheap second baseman and Brendan Donovan. And then, you could play, Tyler O'Neill, who's cheap, probably more 3-man stacks from me out of the cards opposed to going all in with a 5-man stack, just because there's so many teams I want. And I just know I can't play all of them. So yeah, I'll say I'll probably have like a mini card stack somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're going to get overlooked for all those reasons. If you get like one lineup in the 15 that you're trying to get all the way to the top, I think the cards make a lot of sense. I like warm weather. It's going to be 95, a lot of cheap options in it. What are your thoughts on the cards, man? Going, I assume no Pirates for you.
I think the Cardinals are fine. I think they're going to more so be like, again, kind of like my mini stacks where like, if I run my 5-man and the Cardinals fit as a 3-man and it looks really good, like yesterday, I remember when I ran some Red Sox, one thing I liked was I saw that there was like a Nolan Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, and then it was mixed in with like another pretty good bat, right? When I ran my 3-mans with my 5-man Red Sox stack. One time when I ran my Red Sox stack, I noticed I had like the 8 and the 9 on the Blue Jays, and then like just like only I think Bichette, right? I didn't have some of the other power bats. Like I want to see how it fits with my 5-man. That's one thing that I definitely want to mention. I think these Cardinals, they're in play. They're not going to be a team I totally write off, but they're not my priority on this slate, right? They're not going to be a stack that I'm jamming in as a 5-man. There's other ones that I prefer. Like I said, I think at the Blue Jay stack is one of my favorites. Red Sox, and then right now it'd be Cardinals, but we're coming up with the win game, and I definitely have some interest in that one for sure.
Yeah, before we get to that win game, do us a favor, smash that like button for us, please. That big red subscribe button in the bottom right too. 300 is the number. We're 92 away. We got a couple games left still to break down, 4 or something, 3 games left to break down. So the time is running low a little bit. Do us a favor, 450 watching about, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that subscribe button. We'll get you the plays of the day. We appreciate it as always. Mangone, you talked about the win game. It is here. San Diego Padres, the Chicago Cubs, Ryan Weathers and Caleb Kean on the mound. I mean, it's not only a win game where winds are blowing 20 miles an hour out to center, it looks like. I mean, man, you get 2 really bad pitchers as well. Padres went off yesterday at late innings too. I mean, they weren't hitting very well in the beginning. People were tilting them in Discord, I can imagine, and absolutely just start smashing. How do you not have interest in this game, man? Going both sides, talk about it.
Yeah, so some of the numbers I'm looking at, like for one, how bad is this Killian guy? I don't know exactly. I'll admit this is probably better for like a DC question. I don't know if he's on the Up the Lock show, but definitely kind of want to get some takes from him. And I don't think Weathers has he even pitched this year? At least some of the numbers I was looking at, I didn't see anything on him. So it could be a real disaster for Weathers, right? He's not a pitcher that I'm really that interested in. So I obviously have to be interested in some of these bats. So I do think these Cubs fit really well on some of like your mini stacks, just because of some of the price tags, right? First base, you can grab Schwindel for 2.7K. Wisdom, I mean, against the lefty at 3.5, I'm definitely interested in that. Also, Wilson Contreras, well, that helps like take out the catcher position. And if I'm playing the Blue Jays today, instead of playing Kirk for 5-1, I can just go Contreras at 4-4. So I think this Cubs team fits a lot of mini stacks really well. And don't sleep on the full on stack. They're definitely in play for sure. And then on this Cubs side, the Padres side of the ball, they definitely were hitting the ball pretty well yesterday. Up and down, this is a really good spot for them. But my lean right now, I think, is liking the Cubs more than the Padres currently at this time.
Yeah, the thing is, like you said, look at the prices. I think the Cubs will be the most chalky team on the slate. Their highest price guy, 4.4K in that lineup. The total is almost 6.5 or something, their implied total. Cubs are definitely going to be the chalk on the slate. But yeah, I don't mind if you want to mix in. Look at it, though. They have 2 catchers as well. Yan Gomes is in the lineup in the 5-hole. Everyone's going to go to Wilson Contreras for sure. And I mean, rightfully so.
They have three catchers.
3 catchers? Yeah, they have PJ Higgins, 3 point. Yeah. Wait, no one's definitely 3.6. Somehow he's more. Yeah, they have 3 catchers. So if you play any catcher not named Wilson Contreras, it'll make you a little different. And that's what you got to look at stuff like that when you are playing one of the chalkiest teams. But if you look at it, their prices, I mean, they're free. They have the highest implied total on the slate. Wins blowing out. How are you approaching that? And then talk about the Padres.
Yeah, just a load up spot here. And, this is a team that you can stack and still play two of those top end pitchers that we talked about. I mean, they're cheap. I mean, Schwindel 2.7K, Yan Gomes, 3.3K. Contreras, arguably one of the top bats on this entire slate, 4.4K. Wisdom, 3.5K. There's a lot of different ways you can stack this team, though, so not worried about ownership. I mean, we still have Coors where the total's going up as we speak. Just really good spot here on the Padres side. Just as much interest in those guys. I mean, they kind of went off yesterday. I expect them to do it again today. I mean, it's a 12 total. Wind is blowing out strong, 20 some miles an hour. We got 90-degree temperatures here. Like, that is literally like the perfect combination for Wrigley Field. You want to be on this game. There's just no doubt about it. And, at first glance, looking at the Cubs lineup, I'd be willing to play anyone in this lineup. And then I'm sure when the Padres come out, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to be willing to play any of these bats as well. The lineup's still not out. We should get it pretty soon, but it's the game that you dream of for MLB DFS. Yeah.
So Tony A said Killian is a top prospect. I went on FanGraphs to look. I mean, if I could find anything, pretty big kid. He's 6'4", 25 years old. I mean, at the end of the day, you couldn't ask for a more awful spot for conditions wise to be starting. And what is this, his second start of the year? Yeah, second start of the year. He had one start, 14 points against the Cards. Top prospect, but I'm still going to be over San Diego. Just the weather, the conditions, and yeah, they're absolutely smashed the ball yesterday. But appreciate that, Tony A, about Killian.
Title. I don't know what it says on FanGraphs. Maybe because that's a bigger sample size, but it does from his first start that I saw. The numbers I'm seeing, he's more of a ground ball guy, right? And sometimes that's encouraging at least. But again, this hot weather, like, it just doesn't matter, right? Look and see, ownership is more important than some of these stats that we like to talk about, right? They're great talking points and they can be important, but ownership is going to be key. Your full lineup construction. So make sure if you are playing these guys, understand the ownership. There is going to be a lot of ownership on this, but find a way to make it unique. Maybe it is playing a Higgins on the Cubs, right? Just find ways to do that, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where I love watching the Up to Lock show, seeing what DC has to know about Killian, because he knows he dives all deep into all of these pitchers. Whereas, I mean, I don't know Killian. I don't know much about him, but appreciate Tony A for saying he's a top prospect. See what DC has to say, but look at the implied total. Vegas thinks 5.7 for them. They're going to put up some runs. Let's get into the next game on the slate. We got 2 games left, 225 likes. It's a little hurtful right now. Hit that like button for us, please. 2 games left. We want to get you the plays of the day. 300 is the number. So hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button so we can get you the plays of the day. Next game on the slate, it's Coors, Cleveland Guardians, and the Colorado Rockies. We got Connor Pickington and Austin Gomber on the mound, a total of 12. How I'm approaching this is, man, as good as that win game is in Chicago, I think the ownership's just going to be too high for me on this 9-game slate. I see the same total we got in Coors Field. Obviously, I'm the biggest Coors guy there is. Sign me up for this game. It didn't go great yesterday. I mean, it was as low scoring as you can pretty much get, but you looked at what the Cleveland Guardians did. You look at their guys, Jose Ramirez, Naylor, some of those guys, Jimenez, Rosario, they got there for fantasy wise, which was pretty surprising when you look at the score. I'm on Coors. Hoop, how do you rank Coors with Atlanta, with the win game, with all Toronto, with all that stuff? Because I think that's the main question.
What a move by Title, trying to leverage the weather game for a reason to play more Coors. Yeah, things you absolutely love to see.
Yep.
But it's a load up spot. I mean, I think I definitely prefer the Cleveland side. You got the top bat in Jose Ramirez. Then everyone else is pretty affordable. I mean, you got Oscar Gonzalez, 2.8K, like just a bad price tag on a guy. Rosario at shortstop, 4K. Straw sucked yesterday, 4.1K. Like, everyone is 4.3K and below after Jose Ramirez in Coors with a team total of 6. And then on the Colorado side, more guys in play. I mean, I'd be hesitant to go down to the lineup does get pretty dusty towards the bottom. I'd be focusing on, Connor Joe, CJ Cron, Brendan Rodgers. I'd even play some Daza at 3.4K. maybe only minis for Colorado. Just looking at this team, it's bad. Like their best bats are clearly Joe and Crone. I mean, outside of that, it's like not all that good when you start looking at these bats. Like I don't want to play Jose Iglesias. Like what's the upside with him? Randall Grichuk has been freaking dust all season long. Don't really want to be on him. So yeah, but honestly, now that I look at this, probably going to be more Colorado minis. Are you seeing it any different, Title? Like these guys are not all that good.
I mean, so you get Grichuk in the 8 hole. I like Elias Diaz a little bit at catcher. Obviously, anytime you can throw a catcher in, I don't mind it. I mean, he's okay. You look at it though. What is it? It's 85 in Colorado. The weather's good. Colorado is going to be what, 4% owned on this slate, maybe 5% owned. Cleveland's going to be the more popular side of this one for sure. I mean, CJ Crone is definitely going to be in my lineup if you're playing Colorado against the lefty. That's the thing though, like Ryan McMahon, lefty. I don't love that as much. Iglesias, I don't mind just because he's shortstop eligible. Connor Joe absolutely would be in my lineup. Brendan Rodgers. So if anything would be a wraparound, I wouldn't go McMahon really. I don't mind Jonathan Daza. So to be honest, I like this lineup a little more top to bottom. I mean, look at the implied total, sitting about 6. Yeah. I'm seeing about 5% owned. When do we get Coors 12 total, 6 implied total at 5% owned? So I mean, I love Coors every single day, so it's pretty hard not to. But man, they're going to be overlooked a little bit. So I do like this Colorado side. I mean, obviously, gun to my head, if I had to pick Cleveland or Colorado to score more runs, it would be Cleveland. But I do think they're going to be higher owned. So Colorado is one of my favorite stacks on the slate today, personally. Man, going, or do you have anything else you want to say in this game?
No, that was it. I mean, I just some of the. I can't get on board, I don't think, with like all those dudes. Like Iglesias, I get the shortstop eligible, but man, I can get some like upside, but higher upside, I think, from other teams.
Other teams have more home run upside without a doubt. Whereas Coors, because of the big outfield, because of all that, you just hope they put up 12, they hit the ball around double-digit hits, and they get there that way. So I definitely hear you.
Yeah.
Man, going Coors Field, Rockies, Guardians. It's going to be one of the lower owned Coors spots, I guess. Cleveland will be higher owned, but how are you attacking this game?
Yeah, listen, I totally understand if you want to play Coors. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but I'm not dying to play the Rockies. And the Guardians, they're fine. But I'm probably going to use them more as like 3-man stacks, right? They kind of fit what I want to do. I'm not going to load them up on the 5-mans. I think for my 5-man stacks, I like some of the earlier offenses that I talked about. I'll probably look and see if the Guardians 5-mans do work because of some of like the price tags. Like there are some good ones at the bottom of the order. If you look, Naylor, 4.3K, Miller in the 5 hole. He's at 4-1. Oscar Gonzalez is 2.8 in the 4 hole. They're definitely really good price tags. So I'm not going to completely ignore it. It's probably something I need to look at a little bit more when I get off, but I'm not going to play the Rockies. I like the Guardians side more. And Title, I'm going to the Rockies game on Saturday against the Padres. I'll load up there. I don't need to load up on Coors yet. Let's wait till Saturday. Let's keep the runs low, keep the ownership down. And then Saturday when I go, I'll do the old game stack and we'll ship everything. That's what I'm hoping happens. But I have a little interest in the Guardians. I'm not going to completely sleep on them. And the Rockies, I just think it's not the right slate. There's so many good offenses. I understand the Rockies can get the job done, but I'm out on them.
I hear you. And people are disagreeing. I said 5%, maybe a little higher. Some people are saying 15. I mean, go on every single game. What is the Padres going to be? What's the Cubs going to be? What's Atlanta going to be? I will take the under of 15% for sure. 10%. Yeah, maybe. I think the ownership projections out there have it a little too high on this game. That's all I'll say. So
one thing I'll mention, Title, like I wouldn't like take out like these guys completely, right? If you happen to fall in like 2-mans of like a Crone and a Connor Joe, like that's fine, right? Like, or like if you do a 5-2-1 and CJ Crone's your last piece in, I wouldn't mind that, but I'm not jamming in the 5-man or even jamming in like the secondary stack. If I fall in it and it fits with stuff, that's fine. But I just think it's a mistake to 5-man them on this slate.
And I hear you. And that's what I'm saying. Why I think there'll be a 5-man Colorado stack will be about 5% is what I'm saying. 5-man will not be 15% for Colorado. No. For like the reasons you said. I mean, there's just no chance. There's too many good spots on the slate. People don't want to go to this dusty lineup, but you look at when you see the other ones. So yeah, it's more of a game theory ownership. And I mean, I just love the park, of course. So that is my approach on that. We got one game left, 243 likes. We need 500 or not 500. I saw someone saying 5%. We need 300 likes, 55 more likes. My math's all over. I'm all over the place after that fire alarm. 55 more likes. We got one game left. We'll talk about the stacks. Then we'll hopefully get you the plays of the day. But 300 is the number we do need. And hopefully you guys get it done for us. Hit that big red subscribe button while you're at it as well. Los Angeles Angels, Los Angeles Dodgers, Reed Detmers and Tyler Anderson on the mound. Got an 8.5 total. Hoop, I'll go to you because Dodgers, we're talking about another team with implied total of 5 that are just going to get overlooked on this slate. Dodgers will not be owned. How are you approaching them? And then talk about any Angels if you have interest.
Yeah, Dodgers have been my squad all season long, but usually on Friday nights. But, you know, we're here on a Tuesday talking about, was it Tuesday or Wednesday talking about this one? Dodgers have been kind of hurtful lately, to be honest with you. I mean, they really haven't been getting it done. I mean, their offense is, I mean, they're still winning games somewhat, but for DFS purposes, they haven't been getting the job done. I mean, they're super hot a couple weeks ago, cooled off since. And I mean, you got to make some cuts on the slate. And I think my Dodgers are going to be a cut tonight. I mean, for a couple of reasons. It's like, man, you're paying the premium still for their offense. I mean, you're not getting any guys at a cheap price tag. And we have teams with much higher team totals for much, much cheaper. And I still think they do get ownership. I mean, people are going to play the Dodgers. So for the first time in a long time, I think I'm off my Dodgers. I mean, they're probably going to be a cut for me. It's not a comfortable feeling, but they just haven't been hitting it all that hard lately. So I'll be most likely off the Dodgers tonight.
I mean, I'm with you because at the end of the day, you just cannot play all the teams.
Can't play everyone. You got to make cuts.
Yeah, and I think a good idea is picking out one low-owned spot, whether it's Boston, St. Louis, Colorado, or the Dodgers. I think they all kind of fall in the same boat. Yeah. They all have implied total of 5. I think you can pick one of them. Obviously, if you like 2, 3, 4 of them, you do it. But man, how do I not like the Braves today? There is the Wrigley win game. There is Toronto and all that stuff. So I'm with you. The Dodgers are getting the cut for me. And when we say this is probably the night they go out there for 15, they're going to be low owned though. So if you like them, absolutely, I cannot argue playing them. The Rockies are my team in that boat though. Mangone, Dodgers, pretty low owned and fine implied total. Are you going there? And then any Angels?
Yeah, I'm not really like dying to play these guys. Like, I mean, I'll say this, Max Muncy's too cheap on FanDuel. Can we talk about his price tag? He's 2.7. I know.
Yeah, he's been free for a minute. Him and Teoscar Hernandez just so free every day.
I know, but it's a good price for sure. And like,
but they haven't done much. So I guess at the end of the day, FanDuel's just begging you to play him. I keep playing him in cash games, keep getting my 0s or 3s or whatever. But yeah, he's definitely free.
Yeah, I mean, you can cash for those too sometimes. That's all I'm saying. But it's definitely not the worst idea. I feel it more for like probably like the 3-man stack, right? Like, and I don't know, the prices on DK, the more I look at them, right? $6K for bets. Freeman is 5.4. Trey Turner's 6.1, Will Smith 4.9, Muncy 5.1, Turner's 4.5. These prices just feel too deep on DK for me. I think I like it more on FanDuel possibly, but I think there's other offenses I prefer. It's a loaded slate. Talked about it before. You know, we're ranking these stacks up. I already, talked about 2 that I love, and I like that win game. So Dodgers probably don't really make the cut for me.
We did just get a Nats lineup. Thanks, Steve Boynton, for putting in chat. No Juan Soto again. So that's a big bump to Spencer Strider right there. We already did like him. It is warm in Washington too, but man, you take out Juan Soto in that lineup, it is not nearly as scary. So 7.7K Strider, I definitely give him a boost. And we're all on him even before that as well. So appreciate that, Steve Boynton. Good knowledge. Always have to look at what lineups come out, who's got a day off. So appreciate that, Steve. 32 more likes for the plays of the day. We're going to get into the stacks. I'll read off a couple promos. Hopefully by the time I look back, you guys can get it done. I have faith, but I'm starting to doubt a little bit. 31 likes we need. We'll get you the plays of the day. We appreciate if you hit it. Let's go top 3 stacks and then 1 be contrarian. Hoop, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like some of these. So, I mean, definitely I want, at least one or both sides. I mean, the Padres, Cubs, I mean, are great. Cleveland, I think, is great. And then one that I think is probably a little low owned is going to be Boston. It would be the main guys in that lineup, though, not getting cute with that one. Just the main top 6 guys in that lineup, I think, are great to stack up.
I like it, man. Going top 3 stacks and give me a contrarian one.
Yeah, top 3 stacks. I'm trying to see which one's like, what is considered the chalk stack then today? I mean, there's just so many offenses.
Well, I mean, the Cubs are going to be the highest owned for sure because their price tags are just ridiculous. Padres, you got to think right there. Cleveland will be the popular side. I mean, if you like them, you can play them. I mean, just I need at least one that's going to fly under the radar. And if you say the Dodgers,
so does Blue Jays fly under the radar? Are we good there?
You could say Blue Jays for sure.
All right, cool.
I mean, not everyone can be chalk.
Yeah. Blue Jays are my number one stack today, followed by the Red Sox. Then I'll go with the Cubs. Those are the main ones that I'm looking at right now. Those three, trying to figure out how I can mix and match them throughout my lineups. And then we'll go with, here's a real off the board one, right? And it's more of a mini stack like we talked about before. Let's go with that Orioles one, the full on game stack. That's definitely one that I think I'll give a look. I don't know if it'll make the final team or anything, but it's definitely one I want to consider. I think having it as mini stack, there's enough power and pop where you can get the job done. And one more thing to mention that I'm noticing kind of when like just crunching through some lineups right now. I think like 5-2-1s are like more in play today, or like just because sometimes like with the positions, it makes it a little difficult to like get in everything you want. So I typically like to run 5-3s the most, but I'm going to run more 5-2-1s. I might even run some 5-1-1s just to see if it works out. So I don't know. Maybe I'll even try like the 4-2-1-1s, right? Just to see, because again, it's difficult to jam everything I want. I'm noticing it's definitely not as easy as I was hoping today.
And that's why I think the Cubs, because you look at the price, you look at their implied total. I mean, they're free, and we like paying up for pitcher. There are Spencer Strider in the mid tier if you want to take a shot on the Boston guy. But if you want to double spend up where the studs are, you're going to need cheap bats. And that's why I think Chicago is going to get the most ownership. For my favorite stacks, I'm going to say the Rockies. Would I put them one? I mean, I'll probably put the Rockies two, but I definitely have a lot more interest than their ownership's going to come up. I'm going to say the Braves is one, though. Man, they just keep getting it done at the end of the day. I don't think Fetty's any good. I'm not worried about the Nationals bullpen. It's warm in Washington, guaranteed the ninth inning at bat. So I'll say Braves one. Then I'll just say the game stack in Coors, the Guardians and Colorado is my three favorite. Not going to look at the likes yet. I'm going to read off a couple promos and I'm going to check. If we're at 300, absolutely going to get you the plays of the day. I'd be very happy. Otherwise, unfortunately, we'll have to save it for Discord. But we have to, our promo code right now at Rumpier is RPS Heater 25. It gets you 25% off your first payment. BigT, JSU are recording the NBA Showdown show for tonight. They're recording it for tomorrow. BigT is going to be gone on a golf trip this week. So make sure you check that out. You have to be a premium member for that. After this, DC's coming on, giving his baseball takes. I don't know. I think Holden's on as well. I'm not sure who else, but always good listening to DC. Can ask questions in the live show chat. See who he is on as well. Core plays, playbook, cast chart, all of that as well. Then make sure you check out Underdog. Very good, fun site over there. Use the promo code RUNPIER. Get you a matching deposit bonus up to $100. And check out that show. Simon's done a couple. Snyder's on it. Hoop's done a show with Snyder as well. Then the latest one, Josh Larkey, Snyder, and Simon breaking it all down. Let me check the likes, 289. It's a little hurtful. I have to stick with my word. We're gonna get the plays of the day in the Discord, so be on the lookout for that. MLB looks like Hoop's typing his in now. Mangone's gonna be typing his in pretty soon. Hopefully, mine does not get sniped. But we'll all see you in the live show chat. We appreciate you hanging out with us. What'd you say?
I say got to beat you guys to it in case we're on the same.
Yeah, I took Gary's last time. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. It's a fun show. Go Avalanche today. I'll be cheering for the Avs. Mangone's down there in Denver. He'll be cheering for the Avs as well. It'll be fun watching Stanley Cup game number 1. That's going to do it for us, though. We'll see the RPS logos up to the top today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way out. For Hoop, Mangone, myself, Titletown, Simon behind the sticks, out of order. I'm all out of whack. Good luck, everybody.